pollution, right? Specifically in the water. It's not that great, right? Within Maine, especially, it's become quite a prominent issue. Litter from industries, like just general pollution, it tends to entrap and kill large marine life, which, you know, not great. And then contaminants further damage the wildlife, specifically like fish and the food chain with that. And there's also microplastics, and that pretty much is the same thing effect-wise. In specific, there's actually a critically endangered species of whale called the North Atlantic right whale, and it's being killed by a lot of like fishing nets and ropes, and it's actually been notified that it's mostly coming from like Maine lobsteries and Maine fisheries. They were implemented these purple tagging systems, which you can kind of see in the top. I don't think you can actually see. It's like a little purple zip tie. It just says that this was from Maine, and it actually killed a calf like 10 months ago. Titled, like, I think it's number 5120. It's estimated that even one human-caused death per year threatens the species' recovery, and there was like 2 that died this past year, I think, so far. 70% of the 31.4 deaths of North Atlantic right whales from the like 4-year span were caused all just by entanglement. And like I said, it's been proven that a lot of that has been coming from Maine. Then we got the contaminants within the water. It tends to poison like the actual like fish, because you know they're not supposed to ingest mercury and such like that. It goes up the food chain through biomagnification. It intensifies as it grows through the different predator chain, and at the top is us, and so it affects both. It infects everyone. The pollution endangers many species who are also sensitive to shifting environmental factors, like we talked about the RNK species stuff. So it's endangering a lot of things. And these same pollutants are used in the water that we use. And I don't know about you, but I really don't want to be washing my car with mercury. That doesn't sound fun. Then we got the microplastics. It's pretty much the same thing biomagnification-wise. It just intensifies as it goes up. But these also cause a lot of like health effects within the animals. It stops them from like reproducing because it affects hormones. It actually affects hormones in people as well. And it also causes cancer. It's a carcinogen, so not good. But what do we propose to fix this, right? I mean, it's easy to talk about like, these are the problems, here you go, but the solution is the hard part. But I've come up with a solution that not only affects and fixes my problem, but it also probably fixes a lot of your problems. Have you ever heard like the term, if you get your pants wet, just soak the entire thing, and that way it doesn't look weird? That's pretty much the same thing in my modest proposal. We pollute more. Now hear me out, right? The definition of pollution, as given by Britannica, the website, a dictionary, is the addition of any substance or any form of energy to the environment at a rate faster than it can be dispersed, diluted, decomposed, recycled, or stored in some harmless form. Now, giving waste to nature is pollution by that definition, but giving waste to other waste isn't pollution at all. If we redefine the very nature, the very environment, what is pollution? Money, if we do this, is no longer wasted on landfills, and it can be redirected to the people, and it can be used, instead of like enforcement against pollution, it can be helped to create households that otherwise would have been landfills. It helps the people. And we don't have to worry about pollutional disobedience from industries, because at this point it'd be accepted and it'd be actually supported. And it's a lot more resources for people to use, because if we dig up the environment for resources, we just replace it with trash. It not only fixes our trash problem, but it also fixes our resource problem. But wouldn't that kill the fish? Wouldn't that kill the environment? Wouldn't that destroy our wildlife? Yes, but the environment perfected, the wildlife of the world would be perfected too through trial and error, which is called natural selection. We'd kill off some of like the weaker species, but new ones would come to rise over thousands of years. It's a sustainability issue. We see this in pests especially, where antibiotics and pesticides are being used to kill pests, especially like cockroaches, and they're just becoming stronger and stronger and stronger rather than outright dying. I think this will happen with a lot of the other species in the world as well. It's a long-term and very definitive solution to this problem. Also, with weak species dying off and new ones coming to rise, the new and stronger ones will be put into play to better our environment. It's called evolution. And if it's widely accepted by science, then why prevent further progress to greatness? But then it comes to the question, what about people? If our food is getting poisoned, what about people? Well, I propose the same thing will happen with that. But currently, as the path we're going now, it's not a good path, evolution and adaptation-wise. We're actually seeing a lot of health deformities within people because of our dependency. We see this with myopia. It's like an enlargement of the eye. It's why a lot of people need glasses. It's a hereditary condition where it forms to the nearsightedness of a lot of the activities, which is like, phones and screens and stuff like that. It's a bad adaptation we're currently seeing in life. We also see the constant use of shoes. People's feet, not hereditarily based yet, but they kind of conform to the size of a shoe because a shoe isn't really made for, it's designed weird. We see like the pinky toe kind of digs in on itself after years of growth. If adaptation is to occur, eventually our feet will start to look that way naturally. We might even lose a toe. Some people say the pinky toe might disappear. So it's like we're on a dark path. That path could be very similarly appropriated towards WALL-E. I don't know if anyone's watched WALL-E, but basically they live on this spaceship for like 700 years, and they lose bone and they lose muscle, and it's replaced with like adipose tissue, which is fat. And so I think we might be on our way to that, unless we put in my modest proposal, which is we ruin the environment. Because in so, we'd be putting ourselves through adaptation and allow the proper course of events to take its place. I say that in replacing our temporary environment with the perfection of garbage, we temporarily toxify our food, water, air, etc. But much like the wildlife, we'll grow more immune to their effects through natural selection. I think this is good for mankind in general. It helps us perfect our race. I think it's crucial. It's a part of evolution. It's also like the only real sustainable solution, because preventing further pollution, it doesn't really have that much of a grave effect. Like long term it does, but what's currently already corroding the environment, it's pretty much already here. Also, with a lot of other people's things, the polluter, like the industries, they're going to do their thing anyways. A lot of the other things don't really address that. With my solution, it does that, and it makes a 0% non-compliance. It's also incredibly sustainable. I mean, this is a solution you put into place and it's not reverted. It's consistent. I believe this is something that will also become seen as beautiful as further generations come along, because they're not really going to know anything other than that anyways. And there's always beauty in everything. You just got to have an eye for it. I also cited WALL-E.